A lot of these games are going to boil down to a race to the combo. As we see in this game here, Tenjum has an early lead with the birds into the Kitchen Finks.
Yeah, so you start out turn 1 Birds of Paradise, turn 2 Kitchen Finks. For Maine, it is a Noble Hierarch into a second Noble Hierarch and a tap land. Now, in this matchup, what do we care about? There's a lot of different aspects. We could care about the combo. We could also care about just creatures plus Gavany Township.
Yeah. Gavany Township will go over the top. You're playing the same creatures as your opponent. So making yours larger will allow you to press through in combat. In particular, the Birds of Paradise will be able to fly over, get some exalted triggers off of, say, the Noble Hierarchs. You can close the game that way easily.
Kitchen Finks attacks in, puts Maine down. Here's Viscera Seer from Tenjum. Path to Exile from Maine on Kitchen Finks. This is in response to the Viscera Seer.
Yep, don't want Tenjum to be able to sacrifice that to scry and then persist the Finks back.
So basic Forest into play.
So Maine will be untapping with a lot of mana here. He's already in Collected Company range.
Oh yeah, this is post-combat. A good sequencing by Tenjum. He got 3 damage in before the Path to Exile by playing that post-combat.
Yeah, he has to figure when you play Viscera Seer, if Maine has the path, it's going to be cast in response, so get that attack in.
Exactly. We'll see if post-combat, if Maine has any other, Tenjum has any other plays. He does not as we go back to Andrew Maine. Horizon Canopy is the play. Looks like he'll just pass. Tenjum sacrifices the Verdant Catacombs. So there seems to be a lot of play at instant speed and end steps going on here.
Yeah, a lot of this gameplay is going to come down to players casting Collected Company and Court of Calling on the opponent's end step. Realistically, even in the combat step. Though I can't imagine that either of these players would make a terrible attack into a Collected Company.
Temple Garden is the find for Tenjum.
Now Tenjum will be untapping in Collected Company territory. And then we see who can find the best, who keeps the best company.
I get it. I get it. It's like I'm having people, it's like I have friends and you're judging my friends.
Do you want to go to Andrew's party or do you want to go to Andrew's party?
I like the option. You're giving me the cop-out of saying I'll go to Andrew's party.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That way I don't hurt anyone's feelings with my answer.
Everyone has a good time at Andrew's party.
Back over to Tenjum. He just fetched for Temple Garden on end step here. A lot of mana on both sides, and they both are shocking for more. Tenjum plays Overgrown Tomb. Into play untapped, down to 19. 4 mana main phase. Murderous Redcap is the play. All right, that works. He had to use the Birds of Paradise to get the second black source.
Right.
He'll target one of Maine's Hierarchs. Now Maine will make a move. Collected Company.
If he finds the Viscerous here, he'll be able to sacrifice the Hierarch in response to get a scry.
Sounds good. Malira is one of the creatures he sees. I don't know if he has options here. I think it has to just be Malira plus Kitchen Finks. Which
that's two parts of a
that's
combo.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about having to keep those two. So the Noble Hierarch will be put in the graveyard. The red cap will cut it down. Now Andrew untaps. This is a dangerous moment.
I went to Andrew's party yesterday, and all he had was steak. That's the complaint we're making with this kind of find. Of course, you'd like to have options, but a Viscera Seer here, and we're comboing off. Of course, Tenjum has the option. He has Viscera Seer Murderous Redcap in play. So with the persist on the Murderous Redcap and the sacrifice ability on the Seer, he kind of has a 1 point of damage burn spell that just has kind of hovering around on his battlefield.
Scavenging Ooze for Maine. Now that would stop the interaction you're talking about.
Correct.
See if Tenjum responds.
These board states get complicated.
This is why I don't play creatures.
This mirror just seems very difficult to pilot.
Too many creatures, overload, warning. Here comes Kitchen Finks. Now, that creature more or less is indestructible, right? It'll just come back as the 3/2 if he blocks. So Tenjum will go to 15.
Yep. It's a free attack there.
15, 17 are life totals, but you start to think that this is about comboing. Well, I guess until it's not. Yeah.
Schrodinger's combo deck.
It's all about the combo until it's about the life totals.
It's about combo until your life total hits 0.
That's a... No, it's not really a combo. Go back to Andrew's side. Andrew Tenjum's side. And see how he interacts. Remember, we are in the post-board games. So something like, I was going to say, this Abrupt Decay from Andrew Tenjum, those are in the deck lists now. Not in the main. He plays those out of the sideboard. Specifically to break up... Well, this is actually interesting. Scavenging Ooze isn't a combo piece.
Right.
But Andrew goes for it anyway. He doesn't go for the Malira.
So he's using his Disruption, which primary purpose thereof is to break up the opposing combo, to break up the card that Maine has to break up Tenjum's combo.
Right, Scavenging Ooze. So Tenjum's protecting his own combo instead of destroying Maine's.
Yeah, really versatile card. Is it hate for the opposing combo, anti-hate for the hate? Very flexible as Abrupt Decay, especially in a deck that's so much about permanence.
So Red Cap attacks for 2. Maine takes it, goes to 13, and now Tenjum plays Kitchen Finks of his own, goes up to 17.
Looks like Tenjum's empty-handed now, but he is a Malira or a Anafenza away from going off with both infinite life and damage with the Kitchen Finks and the Murderous Red Cap.
Apologies there. Andrew Maine at 15 life. But you're right, Tenjum on no more cards. Maine's running out of them too. Maybe this is the kind of spot where Gavany Townships might matter. Well, not yet. Maine will cast Eternal Witness, getting back Scavenging Ooze, then cast Scavenging Ooze. Attacks with Kitchen Finks.
Yep. Now he's able to break up any persist shenanigans from Tenjum again.
This means that if Maine draws Viscera Seer, it's game over, right?
Yep, Maine's able to go off with the life gain combo, put the Murderous Red Cap on the top of his deck, and still has Scavenging Ooze to block against Tenjum's persist creatures.
So we go back over to Tenjum. Down to 13. Life totals are even, but I think Tenjum is falling behind here.
Certainly. He needs the top of his deck to cooperate in a big way. His opponent is one piece off from comboing and also has Disruption for his potential combo.
Fiend Hunter, the draw for Tenjum. That one's huge here.
Yeah, so the question is...
It's a way to get rid of Finks.
Right, we can get rid of Kitchen Finks or go for the Scavenging Ooze. Who does he think is going to combo off first?
This is really interesting. There are creatures in the graveyards right now, so the Ooze could get big. Oh, and he's going to do... Okay, this is a trick. This doesn't work with Banisher Priest, but does work with Fiend Hunter. So Fiend Hunter enters the battlefield. Andrew will sacrifice the Fiend Hunter to Viscera Seer. What this means is that whatever creature he chooses gets exiled and will not come back.
Right, the leaves the battlefield trigger resolves before the enter the battlefield trigger does.
Yeah, it's backwards, and with modern cards, they've changed it so you can't do this. But this means that the Scavenging Ooze, that was the choice from Tenjum, is now in exile for Andrew Maine. It's not coming back.
Right. Maine wouldn't be able to peel a Path to Exile, Abrupt Decay, or his own Fiend Hunter.
Exactly. So back over to Andrew Maine. This means he is no longer green-lighted to combo because the Red Cap could break it up. These board states are crazy. Andrew Maine has drawn a copy of Anafenza Kintree Spirit. He'll play it. If I'm familiar, there's a lot of combos now with both Malira and Anafenza in play. Andrew's Kitchen Finks continues to get better. Now, not only if it dies, it'll come back without a -1/-1 counter and bolster something else.
Correct. It'll make a 1 toughness creature. It looks like the Noble Hierarch would be the recipient of that bolster. The Eternal Witness could be a target as well.
He swings Tenjum down to 9. Then Maine will play Birds of Paradise, and he's holding a bolster trigger here. Now, if Tenjum top decks Anafenza or Malira, I believe he wins now.
Yeah, Maine has nothing on the battlefield that can disrupt Tenjum.
But outside of finding that combo piece, I mean, Collected Company, the card, Court of Calling, there's a lot of outs. it seems like the fair fight, the creatures on the battlefield fight, that Maine now owns that.
Maine is winning in combat. There's no question about that. And we see Tenjum sacrificing his Birds of Paradise to go Scry to dig for that combo.
Okay, so Tenjum is saying, yeah, I'm not going to win the combat, but if I find my combo piece, I win. Let's see if I can Scry to it.
Right. You don't have anything about this. I can't beat you on the battlefield. Can I beat you on the stack?
It's really interesting here. Believe that he's going to go ahead and Scry. He'll keep a card on top. That is a bad sign for Andrew Maine.
He's thinking about it a lot. So perhaps he's wondering if Maine is representing a path to exile with this Windswept Heath on his side of the battlefield.
There's a ton going on here. It's interesting. He made this block. He took 3 damage. Well, we'll correct that. 1 second here. We'll see what Andrew Tenjum's on. Yep. So it's interesting here. I think Tenjum is audibling his game plan. He took the attack off Kitchen Finks and then sacrificed on end step. I think if he knew he was going to do that ahead of time, he may have changed his pace. I see. The card he kept on top was Gavany Township.
I understand the reluctance here.
Yeah,
he has
that's
some
really
good
close, right?
interactions. Yeah, he can now use the Viscera
Oh,
Seer,
wow.
get rid of this
Watch
Kitchen
this.
Finks to Scry, the Murderous Redcap to Scry, bring them both back, use the Township to reset them.
This is awesome. So it's not a combo, but it's really good. So Viscera Seer sacrifices Kitchen Finks. Tenjum can Scry 1 and will gain 2 life. That part's easy. I guess he needs to decide if he wants to do that on his turn or on Maine's turn. He'll do it on his own.
Yeah, you don't want Maine to untap and have something like Collected Company. It's a real possibility.
He's got a side here. So the play is he can sacrifice both these persist creatures, get them to re-enter the battlefield, and then put a 1/1 counter on them both with Gavany Township, which would kind of heal them from the persist.
Right, and with Murderous Redcap, its damage dealing ability actually checks the power of the Redcap. So if you Township in response to that trigger,
You can deal 2, right?
Right.
So maybe get that Melira and Offenza, that sort of stuff off the board. He'll sacrifice both. Both come back into play. We'll see if he Townships with the trigger on the stack. Redcap will come into play, dealing damage equal to its power. He's going to go for Anafenza Kintree Spirit with the trigger on the stack, pump the team. So Tenjum gains 2 off Finks, and Kintree Spirit takes 2. And you see now both those -1/-1 counters are removed.
Right, and the reason to go to Anafenza instead of Melira is Anafenza's bolster ability is better when Maine isn't comboing.
Now, if you haven't watched this, the black dice are -1 counters, whereas the white dice are +1s, in case you're wondering.
Correct. Good to differentiate visually. It's hard to tell when you just see dice on the screen, but
Right. The winner of this, if you remember our bracket, we have the winner of this playing the winner of Joseph Bresnell and Joshua Carlson. They are on game 3 now. That match between Jund and a third Obzon Company deck.
I have to imagine playtest sessions when you think that Obzon Company is going to be the most represented deck in a tournament and you test the mirror just have to be huge headaches.
Here is Fiend Hunter from Maine. Okay. That is going to break up this little engine and Tenjum assembled.
Yeah, we'll get that Viscera Seer out of here. Suddenly Tenjum needs to find the Viscera Seer again and then find the Melira or the Anafenza to reset up. He'd be at 1 combo piece instead of 2.
Well, what I liked about Tenjum's engine of Township plus these 2 guys is he had just a million scries. And now he won't have them. You see, Tenjum he had an option to sacrifice Viscera Seer, to scry 1, but he lets it resolve and lets it get exiled by Fiend Hunter. Now he draws. Maine is still 1 card away from combo. And a Collected Company, that was the card scried to the top for Tenjum. So he knew he had a good draw coming. We'll see if he can get the combo. Does he find the last piece? Eternal Witness. It's one of the two creatures.
Noble Hierarch is the other.
Okay, so it's not a win, but it might be a redraw. Now, is this a punishment here? So he didn't sacrifice that Viscera Seer because he didn't want to scry one. If it was in the graveyard, he could get it back with the Eternal Witness.
I like Abrupt Decay as a target, though. If the Seer is what he really wants, he can just tag the Vander. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. He'll get back Abrupt Decay as well.
This also has the option to break up that Melira that was left behind.
Oh, okay, so if Andrew draws a Viscera Seer, now Tenjum, at instant speed, he can get his own Seer. He can, yeah, he's got a lot more options this way.
Correct.
Really good play.
Yeah.
Abrupt Decay takes care of Fiend Hunter.
Doing this on Maine's turn so that presumably he'll be able to scry before his draw step.
Yep, now I'll go back to Tenjum's turn. So Maine had passed the turn. That was on Andrew's end step. So we're back. We're on Maine. Tenjum's upkeep. He'll just naturally draw a card. No scries just yet. Now that engine of Finks, Redcap, Seer, Township is back online. Despite the fact that Tenjum's at 7, he looks to be in control.
A lot of back and forth in this matchup. There's no question about that. Maine has gone from being able to make terribly safe attacks, though.
Scavenging Ooze was the draw for Andrew Tenjum. He has just enough mana left over to activate that Gavany Township.
And the Hierarch hanging out to activate the Scavenging Ooze once on top of that.
Right. So we go to Maine's turn, and now here's that trick again. Tenjum will sacrifice both Persist creatures, Finks and Redcap. They come back with -1/-1 triggers. He'll gain 2 life, target the Melira, and then with that on the trigger on the stack, heal up his creatures. So 2 damage dealt to Melira, everyone else gets bigger.
And now Andrew Maine is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no doubt. Update for you on the top 8 bracket. This is a result that we did expect. Jory White, defending LCG Milwaukee champion, on burn. 2-0 win over Matt Stanky's Infect deck. So, Jory White will square off against Joe Lissette in our first semifinal.
Yeah, there was no result of that match that Joe was excited to see. We'll see if he's able to triumph over another bad matchup in the semis.
I think he'd rather play against Burn than Infect. But you're right, this is just, you're picking your poison.
Right.
You know, which cup is it in? And the draw from Tenjum after those scries is Melira, so now the full combo is assembled. Infinite damage and life. Tenjum evens the score, 1 game apiece with Andrew Maine.
Yeah, with an interaction that you don't see a ton. Just setting up Murderous Redcap, Kitchen Finks, Viscera Seer, Gavany Township. Generates value off of scrying, generates some shocks off of his Murderous Redcap. That was really cool.
This matchup's neat. I like it. What I liked about Tenjum's side is that he had lost control of the board at one point. Maine seemed to have all the large creatures. So what Andrew did is he started sacrificing his creatures for scry triggers to try to assemble a combo so that he could fight back on the board. And he was actually very successful at doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, the Viscera Seer aggressively sacrificing a Birds of Paradise just to go ahead and scry. Tenjum knew that he just wasn't going to win that game in combat, at least at that stage. He had to pursue some more powerful synergies there, so I like that quite a lot.
That's really interesting. Let's look at the sideboards as we entered this one at game 2. Now that game was sideboarded, so I want to run through quickly what you believe is in the deck as of now.
Right, we know for sure Path to Exile, Abrupt Decay, Scavenging Ooze. In inverse, on Tenjum's side, we have 3 Path to Exile, 2 Abrupt Decay for Andrew Maine, 2 Path to Exile, 3 Abrupt Decay. So the Path to Exiles are better at getting rid of Kitchen Finks. So there's a Scavenging Ooze on the sideboard for Tenjum, and 1 Scavenging Ooze for Maine as well. Those are all certainly in. And those are really the highlights here. You can use Orzhov Pontiff to some success. If your opponent is on a lot of Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarchs, I like having that card as a Court of Calling target.
All right. So we're going to have the third and deciding matchup between Andrew Tenjum and Andrew Maine. Now, you may recognize players we've been talking about. They both had great invitational weekends. On Maine's side, a top 4 finish with green-white tokens in the main event put him what I believe is to be in the leader spot on the Season 2 race. For Andrew Tenjum, he doesn't need to care about the Season 2 race because his top 32 finish at the Invitational got him one of the Players' Championship invites for Season 1. So both of them had a great Invitational. Indeed. Now, the Invitational, if you didn't see it 2 weekends ago, the coverage we have in the archives on on our YouTube page. You definitely want to check that out. But the winner was Max McVitie with Mono White Humans. And despite getting an invite to the Players' Championship, winning the first place prize, Max McVitie got to have a likeness on a card of his choice. And we can now debut that card. If you haven't seen it yet, we've shown it this weekend. He chose to have his face on the Clue token. This is the Clue token that you see so many cards out of Shadows over Innistrad use. Particularly his own Declaration in Stones, his own Thraben Inspectors in his tournament winning deck list.
Yeah, able to generate some clues. He's got that little friend on his shoulder there, that living lamp. Been wondering, what should we call this thing? Maybe we should call an expert. Max McVitie could name it himself. It is, after all, his pet.
Yeah, he engineered it. Ooh, we have a good one here from Twitter. How about Watson?
Watson, good.
That's good.
Maybe a second after Lampy McLampface.
Is that what everything on the internet's named now? That's just that. I mean, the answer is yes, I think.
I hope the answer is yes, because the internet can generate a lot worse than that.
All right. You get this token at all opens in Season 2, starting with our next Open in Indianapolis in 2 weeks. Also, if you don't want to play the Open, you get it in the Classics for signing up, and in any order from StarCityGames.com of at least $5. Starting, we'll switch over from the Caleb Shear Storm token to the Max McVitie Clue token starting at May 13th.
Yeah, I definitely need to get my hand on some clues. I like this. The art on that is just great.
Yeah. All the way down to the period where, he's dressed like he's from Innistrad. It's great.
He's got those really cool.
I want like the
What's
ruffly
even
shirt.
the word for that style of clothes? Tweet at us if you know how to describe these clothes properly.
It's like
outside of saying period for Innistrad, which is not a time frame. It is a plane of existence.
Uh-huh. It certainly is not 1800s Victorian or anything like that.
It's
plane. That's the plane of Victoria.
That's the plane that took place 200 years ago.
Thanks. Game 3, this is the decider between Maine and Tenjum. Maine will be back on the play as he was in Game 1. It did not seem to be about tempo in the first game. You'd still rather be on the play than the draw, but this is a chess match.
If you're pulling ahead, it's because you're just able to aggressively combo without being disrupted.
Maine will turn 1 fetch out a land for Viscera Seer. And it's interesting, this 1/1, I would have thought it wouldn't have it's part of the combo, and I know that. I didn't realize just how important it was in this mirror match.
Yeah, especially as we saw with those Gavany Township persist creature synergies.
Yeah.
Viscera Seer is just a good magic card.
One.
Yeah.
Viscera Seer from Tenjum. Same play, Godless Shrine, Viscera Seer. Now, Tenjum's got the original Godless Shrine, and Maine has the reprint.
Okay, I was going to say Verdant Catacomb, Godless Shrine, Viscera Seer. It's just a straight mirror of the turn, but you're right. Tenjum did one-up him with that art.
I like my Godless Shrines, the reprint, kind of beat.
Border whited out.
I do like that. You're not wrong. Temple Garden into play for Maine. Down to 15. Maybe I'll just try to play out the combo on turns 1, 2, and 3. I think he's got an Anafenza Kintree Spirit in his hand. Make it easy.
Yeah,
hey, look, turn 3 get you. Yeah, he does. He has Sphinx in his hand.
Oh, wow. This will force Tenjum to have a Path to Exile or an Abrupt Decay on this turn.
Gross. Anafenza for Maine. So now here the chess part begins. Does Maine, if he has a kill spell, he probably just has to hold it up. But then, or Tenjum has to hold up a kill spell here. Then Maine doesn't play the creature. And then, oh my goodness.
It's not a huge cost for Tenjum just to leave up mana on this turn. Maine just has a 2/2 and a 1/1.
Yeah, Tenjum land and go. Does Maine want to play around any removal or just check him on it?
We could always just
win ?
You could always just cast Kitchen Finks and not go for the combo right away.
Oh, that's super weird. Yeah, but that's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
He'll play Wall of Roots instead, bolstering on to Viscera Seer. Okay, so trying to protect his combo a bit.
Just disguising the fact that he has the combo in the hand, actually.
Uses mana off Wall of Roots to play another Wall of Roots, getting a very big mana advantage. Gets to bolster 2 times. Gives one to the Seer and one to the Anafenza. One thing I just want to talk to you, if you haven't noticed, dice of different colors are different counters.
Yep.
So a swing now. This is great. Instead of trying to combo, Andrew's going to try to beat up Tenjum with tiny creatures. Here comes the 3-2 and the 2-2.
And if Tenjum just does something like tap out for Kitchen Finks on the following turn,
He
unless he casts a Path to Exile or Abrupt Decay here, yeah, he just loses.
I see why Maine still wants to be on the play, even in this kind of matchup. A lot of this is made possible by the fact that he was the first player to say they have mirror image hands, right? The exact same cards. This is how it would play out, right? Tenjum couldn't make a turn 2 Anafenza. It might die.
Right. The advantages on this matchup are all accrued on the battlefield. There's some interplay with some disruptive instance, but mostly it's all about getting permanents out, and it's the interactions on the table that matter. So having the first crack at that, being the first one to have enough mana for Collected Company, that matters a lot.
Tenjum took the whole brunt of the attack and dropped to 11. That will drop to 12, and then on end step he fetched a Godless Shrine to go to 11. Now we'll see how he responds. Razor Verge Thicket is the play. Kitchen Finks, he taps out for it. You said this is game then, right?
So Maine can go arbitrarily large with the Kitchen Finks. If he has a murderous red cap, it's game.
Okay, so a draw for Maine. Windswept Heath. Here's Kitchen Finks. Big sigh from Tenjum. He knows. So here's how the combo works. Viscera Seer sacrifices Kitchen Finks. It comes back into play with a -1/-1 counter on it. However, it gets to bolster. So it'll bolster onto itself, making itself a 3-2 again. Andrew will scry 1, gain 2 life, and do the same thing again. So as many times as he wants, he can gain 2 life and scry 1, which, okay, he'll do it a lot of times. Let's make sure that his life total is very unreachable. Oh, wow, no, he actually just has the win here. He plays Melira Silvok Outcast. So do the same thing I mentioned, except each time when the Kitchen Finks comes back, instead of it comes back as a 3-2.
Right, now it no longer has to bolster onto itself.
Every time he loops it, Andrew gets scry 1, gets 2 life, and gets a trigger of bolster 1. So he's going to do that a couple thousand times. Yeah, and he's going to bolster many times onto all his creatures. It's not over because he only has 2 legal attackers.
Right, though Tenjum has 2 legal chump blockers.
Yeah, it's not good.
And he can also just make the Finks, the Finks and the Melira will be large for the next turn. So Tenjum doesn't have anything that would be able to sweep this up. It would be a combination of a lot of spells. It would be, say, 4 Path to Exiles, which is just unrealistic. So this one looks like it's going to go Maine's way.
Yeah, keep in mind that this infinity symbol is just a representation of a number higher than 999, meaning if Andrew Tenjum, say, got an infinite damage combo, he would still win the game.
Correct. There's no way to prevent yourself from ever dying to damage.
So here's a swing. One thing the players have agreed upon, as it's hard to visually represent, we want to let you know that Andrew Maine's creatures are all arbitrarily large at the moment.
Right. The Wall of Roots maintains these -0, -1 counters because +1/+1 counters don't counteract that type of counter.
Yeah. The Kitchen Finks is still a 3-2, actually. Everything else, yeah.
Right. It enters
Everything
the
else is
battlefield
large.
last. And I suppose it's a 4-3 because it has to get the last bolster counter.
Right. So what you normally do to stop yourself from having to bolster on the creature you're sacrificing is you stack it so these bolster triggers on the stack never resolve until you're done looping. So when you're finally done looping, then you have a stack of 1,000 triggers of bolster 1. So actually, I guess, sorry, the Kitchen Finks also gets bolstered onto as many times as he wants.
Correct.
Everybody gets big, including Finks.
Yep.
It's really weird inside the... There's some rules trickery here, but the net result is all of Andrew Maine's creatures are larges.
And this is what's really cool about formats as large as Modern.
Not as large as Kitchen Finks. Oh.
So anyway, when you have many years of cards available in your card pool, you have some really odd interactions that come up.
Maine is going to... Tenjum's going to make a last-ditch effort. Here's a Collected Company. He needs a perfect hit for a damage combo to try to win. He's not going to hit it. Extends the hand, and there you have it. Andrew Maine, Obzon Company, 2nd consecutive tournament. He's into the semifinals with a victory.
Yeah, pushing for that Season 2 points leader slot. Really impressive stuff for Maine. Great work. Make his way to the semifinals. What a difficult mirror match to navigate.
I'm going to stick to my not playing creatures, and I'm going to stick to my playing cards that kill you.